When I first heard about Persona 5, the Phantom X hitting Western shores, I'll admit I was not impressed. Another mobile spin-off of a beloved franchise? We've seen how that story usually ends. But after diving deep into this ambitious gacha game across multiple platforms, PC, mobile, you name it, I'm genuinely surprised by what Perfect World Games has accomplished here. This isn't just another cash grab wearing a Persona's stylish red and black aesthetic. It's a legitimate attempt to translate the magic of Atlus's masterpiece into the mobile space, complete with all the complexity that entails. Sure, there are compromises along the way, but the core background remains surprisingly intact. Let me start with what works brilliantly here. The game throws you into an alternate universe where people are mysteriously losing their desires and motivation for everything. Work? Who cares? School? Whatever. It's a genuinely unsettling premise that feels ripped from today's headlines about social media addiction and general malaise. Our protagonist, Nagisa Kamisro, stumbles into the metaverse through that familiar smartphone app we all know and love. The setup feels comfortably friendly to anyone who's played Persona 5, but there's enough fresh material to keep things interesting. Meeting Lufel, the owl companion who serves as this game's Morgana equivalent, was a particular highlight that made me smile. The daily life mechanics have been smartly adapted for mobile play. Instead of being locked into a rigid calendar system, you have unlimited days with flexible time management. Want to jump straight to evening activities? Go for it. Need to advance to tomorrow? No problem. This removes the time pressure that some players found stressful in the mainline games, though I personally miss that sense of urgency. The turn-based combat system translates beautifully to mobile. All the fundamentals are here, hitting weaknesses, knocking down enemies, and unleashing devastating all-out attacks. The animations are smooth, the UI is clean, mostly, and battles feel genuinely engaging rather than mindless autoplay affairs. What impressed me most is how they've handled the Persona system. Yes, there are gacha mechanics at play, but you can still fuse new personas in the Velvet Room and customize your loadout. It's not quite as deep as the console versions, but it maintains that core strategic element that makes Persona combat so satisfying. The dungeons deserve special mention too. These aren't quick mobile diversions. They're massive, puzzle-filled environments that rival anything in the mainline series. I spent hours exploring every nook and cranny, solving environmental puzzles, and hunting down treasure. The first palace alone kept me engaged for days. Here's where things get complicated. This is undeniably a gacha game, with all the baggage that comes with it. Characters are locked behind random pulls, weapons require duplicates to reach their full potential, and there's an energy system governing certain activities. But here's the thing, it's not as predatory as I expected. The game is surprisingly generous with its free currency, and I've managed to unlock most characters I wanted without spending a dime. The story characters are genuinely useful, and the game doesn't feel like it's constantly pressuring you to open your wallet. That said, the multiple currency systems are confusing as hell. I'm still not entirely sure what some of these resources do, and the UI doesn't help matters. There are so many flashing buttons and notifications that it can feel overwhelming, especially coming from the clean elegance of Persona 5's interface. I can't write this review without mentioning the internet's favorite villain, the Subway Slammer. This guy has become a meme for good reason. He's so over the top, so ridiculously written, that he crosses the line from serious social commentary into unintentional comedy gold. The game tackles real issues like harassment on public transportation, which is commendable in theory. But the execution? Let's just say subtlety isn't this game's strong suit. The Subway Slammer's dialogue is so outrageous that it's impossible to take seriously, turning what should be a meaningful moment into something that feels more like parody. Despite the wonky writing, the palace associated with this storyline is genuinely excellent. The puzzles are clever, the boss fight has interesting mechanics, and the overall design captures that classic Persona dungeon feel perfectly. Visually, the Phantom X nails the Persona 5 aesthetic. The red and black color scheme is everywhere. Character portraits are beautifully detailed, and the anime cutscenes look fantastic. It genuinely feels like stepping back into that world, even if some animations feel a bit janky at times. The music situation is interesting. There's a mix of classic Persona 5 tracks and new compositions, though I found myself wishing for more original material. After hundreds of hours with the original soundtrack, hearing Life Will Change for the 1000th time gets old fast. The new tracks are solid, though, and there's even a rhythm game minigame that adds some variety. Playing on PC reveals the mobile origins pretty clearly. Controller support is wonky, the UI is cluttered, and everything feels designed for touch input first. It's playable, but not ideal. Mobile is definitely the way to go if you're planning to dive in. The biggest question with any gacha game is longevity. Can it maintain interest over months or years? Early signs are promising. The dungeons are massive enough to provide weeks of exploration. There's a steady stream of events and content updates, and the social elements add replay value. But I'm concerned about the pacing. This is clearly designed as a play daily for 30 minutes experience, rather than a binge for hours game. That works for some people, but if you're looking for that classic Persona experience where you lose entire weekends to dungeon crawling, you might be disappointed. The story also feels lighter than the mainline entries so far. The characters are likable enough, but they lack the depth and development that made Persona 5's cast so memorable. Maybe that changes as more content is released, but right now it feels like Persona Lite. Should you play this game? If you're a series fan who's been craving more content, absolutely. It's a surprisingly faithful adaptation that captures much of what makes Persona special, even within the constraints of mobile gaming. For newcomers, it's a solid entry point, though I'd still recommend starting with the mainline games if possible. The gacha elements and mobile-first design might not represent the series at its best, but they don't completely undermine the experience either. This isn't the next great Persona game, but it's a damn good mobile adaptation of one. In a world where most franchise mobile games are soulless cash grabs, the Phantom X stands out as something genuinely crafted with care and respect for its source material. Just don't expect it to replace your desire for Persona 6. Consider it more like a stylish appetizer before the main course arrives.